Have you ever finished talking with a Japanese person and the moment the conversation ended, you immediately started replaying everything in your head? I want you to think about the last time you spoke Japanese with a native speaker. Not your teacher, not someone speaking slowly for learners, an actual Japanese person. I bet you probably thought one of these two things. The first one was, why are they talking so fast? You know every word in your textbooks. You've studied grammar, you've been practiced listening, but somehow, the moment native starts talking, it feels like they hit the 2x speed button. You catch one word, then you miss 3. Then you're so busy trying to remember what the first sentence meant that you've already missed the next 2 sentences. Sound familiar? But maybe your biggest struggle wasn't that. Maybe it was this one. I knew those words, so why couldn't I understand the sentence? This one is even more frustrating because afterwards, you ask them to repeat it, they say exactly the same sentence, just a little slower, and suddenly your brain goes, oh, that's what you said. You didn't suddenly become better at Japanese. You already knew those words. So what happened? That's exactly what we're going to talk about today. I've taught over 8,700 Japanese lessons to students from all over the world. Complete beginners, JLPT learners, people living in Japan, people preparing to move to Japan, people who watch anime every single day, people who have never watched anime in their lives. Different ages, different countries, different goals. But after teaching thousands of hours, I noticed something interesting. No matter where my students come from, no matter how long they've been studying, almost everyone who struggled with listening had these exact same 2 problems. Not because they weren't smart, not because they needed to memorize another 1,000 words, but because they were approaching the listening the wrong way. And honestly, that's a good news. It isn't your memory. Then it's something that you can actually fix it. So in this video, I want to completely change the way you think about listening. By the end of this video, I don't expect you to magically understand every Japanese conversation. You know what I'm saying? But I do expect you to stop saying, I guess I'm just bad at listening. Because once you understand what's really going on inside of your brain when a native speaker talks, everything starts to make a lot more sense. So let's get into it. Tip number 1. Stop trying to understand every single word. This is probably the biggest mistake I see beginners make. Actually, not even beginners. Intermediate learners do this all the time too. Let me show you what usually happens. Japanese people suddenly say, 今日さ、駅でたまたま高校の友達に会ってさ、結局3時間ぐらい喋ってたんだよね。The first thing that your brain does isn't, what's the story? Instead it goes, wait, what was the first word? Did it say たまたま? Or was it 高校 or 旅行? Hold on, I missed something. Then you stop listening. But here's the problem. While your brain is trying to figure out one word, the speaker has already said another 5 or 10 words. Now you're even more behind. So what do? You panic even more. I have to catch every word now. But that only makes things worse. Now here's something that might surprise you. Native speakers don't understand every single word either. That sounds crazy, right? Now here's something that might completely change the way you think about listening. Let me ask you something. Have you ever watched a movie in your own language and missed one word? Maybe someone mumbled, maybe there was an explosion, maybe another character talked over them. Did you suddenly stop understanding the movie? No. You didn't pause the movie and think, wait, what was the one word? I can't continue until I know exactly what they say. No, you simply kept watching because your brain is not trying to understand every word. It was following the story. And that's exactly how native Japanese speakers listen. They ain't thinking, oh, that was a particle ga? Oh, that was a casual form of してしまう? Oh, that's an N3 grammar point. No, brother. The brain is constantly asking one question. What's happening? That's it. Listening isn't about collecting words. It's about building a story. Let's go back to the Japanese sentence. 今日さ、駅でたまたま高校の友達に会ってさ、結局3時間ぐらい喋ってたんだよね。Maybe you didn't catch every word. That's okay. Ask yourself, what did I understand? Maybe you called 駅、高校、友達、3時間. Is that enough though? Actually, yes. Because now your brain can make pretty good guess. Something happened at the station. It involved a high school friend. They talked for about 3 hours. Congratulations, brother. You understood the message. Could you translate every single word? Maybe not. But brother, communication isn't a translation contest. It's about to understand the other person. This is why I always tell my students, don't listen for words, listen for meaning. Here's a small challenge that I want you to try the next time you watch a Japanese video. Don't pause. Don't rewind. Don't think about every unknown word. Instead, when the sentence finishes, ask yourself one question. What just happened? Not what did every word mean. Just what happened. At first, you probably understand only 30 to 40%. That's completely normal, brother. But something amazing starts happening. Your brain slowly stops chasing individual words and start following the conversation. And that's the moment listening becomes so much easier. Because that's how native speakers listen. They're not solving a puzzle. They're simply following the story. Tip number 2. Stop expecting textbook Japanese. Here's another mistake almost every learner makes. Your brain expects Japanese people to speak in the way that you learned from textbooks. But that's not how people actually talk. Think about English for a second. I learned English from textbook as well. It taught me things like, I'm going to, and then one day if I visit America and someone says, I'm f***ed. I probably think, wait, that's not what I studied. It's still English. It's just the version people actually speak. Japanese works exactly the same way. Your textbook teaches 何をしていますか? In real life, 何してる? Or even 今何してんの? Now here's a problem. Most learners hear 何してんの? and think I've never studied that grammar before. But you actually have. You already know it. You just know it in a different form. Imagine you're looking for your friend. They're wearing a blue jacket. That's what you expect. But today they're wearing a black hoodie. For a split second, you don't recognize them. Not because you've never met them, but because they don't look the way that you expected. Listening works exactly the same way. You know the grammar. You don't recognize it immediately just because it's wearing different clothes. So instead of spending all your time learning new grammar, spend more time learning how the grammar changes in real conversations. Once your brain starts expecting things like something てる, something しちゃう, something んだけど, something じゃん. Native Japanese suddenly becomes much less scary because you finally realize people aren't using completely different grammar. They're just speaking naturally. Tip number 3. Learn chunks, not words. Now if there's only one thing that I want you to remember from this video, it's this one. Stop learning Japanese one word at a time. Start learning it in chunks. Let me show you what I mean. When beginners study vocabularies, they usually do something like this. 食べる eat. 行く go. 見る see. 覚える memorize. わかる understand. And honestly, ain't no wrong with that. You need vocabulary. But here's the problem. Nobody actually speaks one word at a time. Nobody walks up to you and says, eat, go, see. Real conversation aren't built with single words. They're built with groups of words that almost always appear together. Think about your own language. If I say, by the... you already know what might come next. Way. By the way, not because you're translating each word, but because you've heard that expression hundreds of times. Or if somebody says, at the end of the... your brain is already predicting they. You're not analyzing 4 separate words. You're recognizing one chunk. That's exactly how Japanese works. Instead of memorizing ki, learn 気にしない. Instead of memorizing 思う, learn だと思う. Instead of memorizing わかる, learn わかる気がする. Let's take another example. Imagine someone says しょうがないよ. A lot of learners immediately think, what does しょう mean? What does がない mean? But that's the wrong question. Because しょうがない is one idea, one chunk, one feeling. It means something like it can't be helped. The same thing happens with expressions like お疲れ様. Don't learn 疲れる first. Learn お疲れ様 as a chunk. Here's why this matters so much. Every time you hear a chunk you've learned before, your brain doesn't need to translate it. You recognize it instantly. Almost like recognizing somebody's face. You don't look at somebody's eyes, then their nose, then their mouth, before deciding who they are. You see the whole ass face. That's exactly what chunks do. They allow your brain to recognize an entire idea. And that's exactly how native speakers process language. They're not listening like word, word, word. They're listening like meaning, meaning, meaning. There's a huge difference. My favorite English chunk is, you know what I'm saying? When I hear that, I'm not thinking, you know what I'm saying. No, I recognize that entire sentence instantly. That's exactly how you should study Japanese too. So here's something that I want you to try today. The next time you learn a new word, don't stop there. Ask yourself, what words usually come with this? If you learn 思う, don't write down think. Write down something だと思う. If you learn 気, don't stop at spirit. Learn 気になる, 気がする, 気にする, 気をつける. Those are the expressions that you hear every single day. Because at the end of the day, people don't speak words. People speak chunks. Tip number 4. Stop chasing new videos. Here's another mistake I see all the time, brother. People think, I finished this video. Cool. Now what? They immediately click the next one. Then the next one, then the next one. It feels productive for sure. Because you've already watched 10 Japanese videos today. But let me ask you something. Did your listening actually improve? Or did you just consume 10 different videos? Ain't the same thing, brother. Listening is a skill. And skills aren't built by constantly doing something new. They're built through repetition, baby. Let's say you watch a Japanese vlog the first time. Maybe you understood about 40%. That's completely normal. Most people think, well, I already watched, so they move on. But that's exactly when they should watch it again. The second time, you will notice the words you completely missed the first time. The third time, you start hearing expressions that felt invisible before. For example, the first time you hear under, that's all you catch. The second time, you suddenly hear そうなんだけど. Then you listen one more time. Now you hear いやそうなんだけどさ. The speaker didn't change. The audio didn't change. Your ears changed. That's the part that most learners don't realize. Every time you listen again, your brain already knows what's coming next. That means it can stop worrying about the big picture and start paying attention to the small details. Maybe this time you notice the contraction. Maybe you notice the pronunciation. Maybe you finally hear a grammar point that you've studied before. Nothing about the recording changed. But your brain became a little better at recognizing the natural Japanese. So don't think replaying the video as doing the same thing again. Think of it as you unlocking another layer. Every replay reveals something that you couldn't hear before. That's exactly how your listening improves. So next time you find a Japanese video that's a little challenging, don't watch it once. Watch it 2 or 3 times. Especially mine, of course. You might be surprised at how much your ears improve without learning a single new grammar point. The last tip, tip number 5. Shadowing beats passive listening. Now, this is probably the most practical thing that you can start doing today. Let me ask you something. How many hours have you spent watching Japanese YouTube videos? Anime, podcasts, Netflix, maybe hundreds of hours. Now let me ask you another question. How many of those hours did you actually speak with the video? Probably not so many, right? That's the problem. Most learners think, if I keep listening, eventually I understand. Yes, but much more slowly than you could. If your mouth never moves, your ears don't get nearly as much training. This is exactly why I recommend shadowing. If you don't know what shadowing is, it's really simple. Listen to a native speaker and repeat exactly what they say. Not 5 seconds later, not after translating, as quickly as you can. Copy everything. Their pronunciation, their rhythm, their speed. Even when they pause. For example, いや別にいいんだけどさ. Don't just listen, just say it. いや別にいいんだけどさ. Again. いや別にいいんだけどさ. Once again. いや別にいいんだけどさ. Now here's something really interesting. A lot of people think shadowing is only for improving pronunciation. Actually, research suggests it's much more than that. And when you think about it, that makes perfect sense. Imagine you've never played piano before. You could spend hours watching YouTube videos about piano, watching concerts, watching tutorials, watching professionals play. Would you become a better pianist? Maybe a little bit. But eventually, you have to put your goddamn fingers on the keys. Language works exactly the same way. Your mouth is a muscle. The movements needed to say Japanese naturally are skills. The more you copy native speakers, the more automatic those movements become. And here's the cool part. As your mouth gets used to producing natural Japanese, your ears start recognizing those same sounds much faster. It's almost like your mouth is teaching your ears. That's why speaking and listening improve together. So here's how I want you to practice. Don't shadow a 5-minute podcast. That's way way too much. Choose just one sentence. Just one. Repeat it 5 times. Tomorrow, pick another sentence. If you do that every day, bro, after 1 month, you won't just know more Japanese. You will start sounding and hearing Japanese way more naturally. But if you don't know what sentence to practice, I've already made plenty of shadowing materials on this channel. Just pick one sentence from any of them and just repeat it 5 times a day. That's more than enough to start training your ears. So don't just watch Japanese. Don't just listen to Japanese. Speak with Japanese. Because the moment that your mouth starts working, your ears start improving too. Alright, that's it for today. If you got value from this video, I got more contents like this. I also make listening practice videos to help you get used to real Japanese. And if you haven't seen this one yet, check out this video on how to text Japanese people the natural way. Even if you've already watched it, see you in the next one. またね。